Gosh, guys, so welcome back to Days of the Dead.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
So it's been about 3 weeks since we've seen each other, not too long. Yeah.
That sounds about right. Atlanta and then Chicago before that.
Yeah. Has anything new and exciting happened to you guys in the last 3 weeks?
Well, our whole mission is to just try to keep life as interesting as possible.
Yeah.
And so even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes out of the day, everything we do is just kind of keep life going, right? So it can kind of suck sometimes.
It's kind of all becoming a blur, I am not gonna lie. No convention like, you go to a Days of the Dead in Atlanta and Chicago, and I'm like, okay, here Days of the Dead in Vegas, which we love it here. And sometimes you're like, wait, what city am I in? It doesn't put together a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
And you guys do more than I do, obviously, because you do more than Days of the Dead. And so it must be even more difficult having that aspect to you, like which con am I even at, not just the city,
Yes.
right?
We have a bit of a full schedule. I mean, we're booking all the way up to 2024. This sound system is phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is good. We've been doing a lot of shows. We're always doing something. We have like new things coming out, new designs. We have this. If you're a fan of Grimm-Life Collective and you like our logo and everything that we do, we're working on this whole crossover with Dracula kind of thing. It's going to be cool. Because we're going to England in this fall, and we're putting together what we think is like one of the biggest Dracula videos that YouTube has ever seen. And it's going to be really big. So for that, we're creating something called the Drac Pack. And it has like t-shirts, this whole thing. I mean, it's crazy.
Sign me up. I want a drag pack. Where can we get the drag pack when it happens? Where can our audience get their drag packs?
I always tell people this, YouTube, every single video, there's this little thing underneath it, it's called a video description, you can click on it. Anything you ever wanted to know about the Grimm-Life Collective, aside from our shoe sizes, is there. So that's where you're finding the website, which is down now because we're traveling, but it's neither this or that.
So if we're giving spoilers today, I can tell you also that if you like the color pink, we have our logo coming out in that color selection too. So we're going to be retiring the green and the orange color and replacing it with pink soon.
So excited. It's my color. Look.
I love pink. I know, right?
I'm like Slugworth.
Unfortunately, we only have 2 of these,
Sorry.
which is fine for 3 people. But it's not so good if it's going to be 5 or 10 people up here. But we'll just talk real loud, right? Right. So, I want everyone to get their time in. Do we have any audience questions? Yes.
We're starting with that first.
Well, I'm going to start with that now, just in case, okay? I'll come back to you guys.
That's fine.
Because
Go
we
one.
have shorter panels than we're used to.
That's fine.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that everyone can get their question in if they have them. So you had a couple of fun videos come out in the last few weeks. One, the Mendes brothers, right? And the Conjuring 3. Tell me about filming those.
So, The Conjuring 3 is one of those videos that we've been wanting to do for quite some time. And we were at Days of the Dead in Atlanta, which put us in the perfect spot for that. And we were big fans of the Conjuring universe more than anything of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And we did part 1, we did the house, a couple other things, in real life things. But when we did the Conjuring 3, it was rain, it was crappy weather, which we absolutely love. But it was lovely, yeah.
It was lovely.
And the only other time that we ever had weather like that for a filming location was when we did Pet Cemetery. So it kind of created this like magical, nightmarish feeling to it. We were standing out front of the house, the glass of house, which was also the house from, I'm not here, what was the, shoot. Not Steel Magnolias. Fried green tomatoes. Weird. And that was rather interesting. And then Menendez Brothers, you weren't there for that one. Those ones are always really hard to do. I mean, it's all written in history for the most part, and every time we do a video, we try to keep our thoughts and our feelings out of it. But you're also dealing with people who are living in the house now and do not want to remember what happened, even though they bought the house. You know, so it's always nerve-wracking, especially when a confrontation happens. And have you been to any of the true crime videos whenever I was there filming, or are those ones that I usually go on my own for that reason?
I've been to a few, but more often than not, you are going to receive a bit of pushback from the people who live in the house. You guys all know we always ask for permission. We will never trespass. We will never make people feel uncomfortable by walking on a bunch of their property unless we're going to go knock on the door and say, hey, I just want to let you know we are here. We're not trying to sneak pictures. We're not trying to do it on the slide. We let them know that we're not just some freaks outside their house snapping away. I always feel that if you minimize the amount of people going with you to do that kind of adventure, chances are you're not going to have as much of an angry response. So since we're not home very much, whenever he goes to the true crime videos, I usually stay at home and try to get things clean. Like, we just came off the road literally for about 2 months. So I'm at home doing laundry, doing the dishes, going, okay, there's nothing to eat here. You know, so he also gets up really early, and I can't do that. So we try to rotate the tasks of being married and having a house and, you know, running our life together while still making content. So I tend to take care of things at home.
I must thank you guys, by the way, when we spoke and then you had a video which we watched. I just learned to slice pizza. And it was so delicious.
Yeah, I just heard.
She promised me it was going to be good, and when she's heard that I was going to do the soft escape room, you guys said I had to go get the pizza, and I wasn't even aware that there wasn't a pizza. And so we went, we got a pie, and it was so good.
Wait, you got an entire pie? Like, we can't do more than one. Has anybody here else in this room been a slice for the pizza? Look at that.
Yeah.
Did you go for the black crust or the just
Black crust.
Look at that.
I didn't do the ordering. The group I was with did the ordering, so I just got the table. So we got the regular crust. Next time, because I will do that because it was so delicious. I'm going to black crust.
It doesn't change the taste.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't taken a taste or the texture or anything.
Yeah. So they have a great video on that, and I love watching it. I watched it like 3 times, by the way. And then I was very excited to go get my pizza, and it did not disappoint. So definitely check that out.
So we're always trying to change things up because, you know, if you go to work every single day, even if you like it, you kind of wear yourself out, right? So if you watched the video a couple times, you might have caught right before we did the credits, I said this thing called Grimm-Life. And it's something I've been like playing around with in my head for many years where, yeah, there's all these Grimm locations, there's these filming locations, famous graves, but all these people who are living are creating these amazing restaurants that are either horror themed or based on famous movies, or they're just very localized and they're really cool. So I thought, let's try to do something where we just kind of highlight or put a spotlight on these local businesses that especially are in the market. So that's what that is.
Have you guys been to Nightmare Cafe yet? Out here?
No, not yet. We want to, but every time we come here, every time we've been here in the past, it's been closed. Now it's open, and we don't have time to go.
Yeah, we will. You gotta check it out.
You do? Do you have a favorite food? Because I heard that they got like a themed restaurant.
Yeah. Sweet.
We're closing that early.
You do the death sites, right? But then you also do filming locations. Do you have a favorite type of video? Or hey, Grimm-Eats. Is Grimm-Eats your favorite now?
Filming location videos are really hard to do, and they take the longest to edit and get up. So they're just a pain, but they're fun, especially if you love the movie. True crime ones, there's always, for me, there's a lot of high anxiety. I personally like the ones where it's like, let's just go explore. No rhyme or reason, like the end goal. One of my favorite videos is climbing to the top of the Hollywood sign, where it's just, this is just an adventure video. There's no rhyme or reason, there's nothing spooky, but let's just go on an adventure together. That's the kind of stuff I like.
I don't know if I could choose between one or the other, but thinking about that question, I found myself saying, I have the same response to either place, which is, wow, for a movie, I can't believe I'm standing here, this is movie magic. And then for true crime, it's, wow, I can't believe I'm standing here, that happened. So both of them have their positive responses and their negative responses. Sometimes it's just, oh man, they demolished that building, you know, that was a really cool house, and only someone kept it up, we didn't make it into a museum. You know, you get really nostalgic for everything. And then when you do true crime, it's very emotional. They're both emotional on different levels, but I think they're both equally important in just keeping history and keeping it alive, so to speak.
And it's the same thing, like Jessica and we both talk about this all the time. One of our favorite videos to do is when we went in the day the music died for Buddy Holly. We went to Surf Ballroom and again hiked out to the field where the plane went down. And to me, that's another one of those videos where you go and explore. You know about something, but as you go and visit it, you don't really know what to expect, like a film location. You get there, you don't prepare yourself to be emotionally overwhelmed. You don't prepare yourself to, it's just, you're just there in the moment.
Now, I haven't done as much research as maybe I should have, but do you guys, have you ever done, like, for example, the country pre-filming locations? Leave it to real place. Or the 3 or 2 or, yeah, there's 2 because that's overseas, maybe you should.
We've been to both.
Yeah.
So for country one, that was set around her family. So we went to where the movie was filmed, and then we went to her home.
Got it.
Technically, there's 200 houses in the community. Yeah, we've done both.
Awesome. You guys have one? Yeah.
I am in a bit of a secret telling mood. So usually whenever we plan our videos, we don't like to say, hey, this is what we're doing, because it's just a bit of a surprise when it happens. So March 7th, we are flying out of LA for the East Coast, and we're going to be at the premiere for a movie we're co-producing called The Forest Hills with Shelley Duvall and Furlong. We're going to be there for the premiere.
Alyssa Rose is here.
Yeah.
Yep, Dee Wallace. And we're going to be spending a month and a half over on the East Coast. And there's a lot of movies to go visit the film location. We're not doing any of them. I like mixing it up. Instead, we meticulously, painstakingly, and obsessively track down locations that inspire the movies. So, for instance, Jaws. I've always wanted to go to Martha's Vineyard to do the Jaws filming location. So we said, no, let's not do it. So we tracked down in 1916 in New Jersey, there was actually a shark attack where 4, maybe 5 people died over the 4th of July weekend in New Jersey. And that's what inspired the story of Jaws. So we tracked down where are the beaches those happened, where are the creeks where the kids were bitten. We tracked all down, so that's how. The Conjuring 3, the real life locations, we tracked down all that. So we're going to tell the story of, Arnie and the Glassell family and all that jazz. A couple other little things. Strange things coming.
So exciting.
Are we going to see
Yeah, but that's later on this year. A lot of times she doesn't know what we're doing until we get there. Because I'm constantly planning.
That's why I always seem so excited, because I have no idea.
I remember going to the theater for the Conjuring 2, and thinking to myself, turned around to my husband, and I said, "Can we go there and look at that house?" And he's like, "You want to go all the way to Scotland to look at the house?" I said, "Yes." He's like, "No!" I'm like, "Please." Anyway, you guys are living my dream. I think we all live vicariously through you.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. We're loving our Mark. Yes. Mark, I think with your family, thank you.
We love it. And I think you guys inspire a lot of people to go, as we've talked about this before, to go and have their own adventures and maybe visit these locations themselves. Yeah.
That's like the end goal. We have a couple different end goals. Someday we're going to be 70, 80, 90, 130 years old and not being able to travel. So we're hoping that as a family we can look back and watch these videos and go, "Oh, we used to do that."
At like 80, I'm like, were you?
Look at you.
But also, we want families to go out and make memories. You know what I mean? Like, don't really need to get into it, but it goes back to the early days of Grimm-Life Collective that got me thinking, like that seed in the head where, just getting families off their couches, out of their houses, just exploring. And countless families come up to us, all the time and say, "I go and do this with my kids," or my dad, "I have no idea who you are, but my dad loves you, and he drags me to these places." That's cool.
Yeah. I think it's the new kind of tourism, because now that we're all grown up from the 80s and still loading on the same movies that we loved 20, 30 years ago, and tourism has changed so drastically, and between what families are doing nowadays. It used to be, "Oh, let's go see this giant donut in Denver," or something like that, which we still do. We still think that's awesome. But a lot of the roadside tourism just isn't there anymore, and so people are taking the things that meant a lot to them as children and just going there. And we still do it every day, because like, I forget what it was, I didn't know someone was going to be here, and I lost my mind because they did something when I was a kid, and I was like, I obviously have to talk to this person, and it's the same kind of passion that we all share, and we just wanted to be friends with us and make memories together.
We want to thank you. Stash this away in your suitcase, please.
And by the way, there is no giant donut in Denver.
It's very special for me to be here in Vegas right now because I'm from California originally, and we took all our family vacations to Vegas. This was 25 years ago, of course, so a lot has changed, but whenever I come back here as an adult, I get that nostalgic feel of the things we used to do, which honestly aren't here anymore, from like 1997. And it's just like, wow, I'm back here, so now I'm from.
We were literally talking about that on the way into Vegas, about, yes, Vegas is lovely today, but the idea that I've run my whole life of Vegas doesn't exist now. And I wish I could have seen it like that back then.
Yeah.
But the neon graveyard is a amazing place to go to see some of the places, the giant sign that used to be here.
Translate. What she meant is, when we got here, she's like, "Okay, which Vegas show has the most nudity? I want to go to that one."
Male or female?
Well, she went down the list. So,
I mean, but neon too, neon is great. I love neon, but also movies. I mean, it's true, you can't see the old couple stances like you used to. What you're hearing about. I mean, they have some, great burlesque style shows now, but I don't know, I still miss the old Vegas style show. I've never got to see one. I want to see one. Not striptease, it's a showgirls.
Yeah.
I want to see the showgirls from showrooms. I want to see that show. It's so bad.
Oh, good old days. Do we have any audience questions? Yes.
One of my favorite videos here is is actually the Tom Savini tour video, which I'm sure lots of people love. How did that come about? Like, how did you get to go on that tour with Tom? Was it just happenstance, or did you work really hard to arrange it before?
It was, okay. Well, first, before we go there, we were at a horror convention sitting next to Tom Savini. And as horror fans growing up, right, you know, being around Tom Savini, getting your autograph signed is just kind of like nerve-wracking. It's like, man, this guy's cool. In seconds, I can't believe I'm here. So we're sitting next to him at a horror convention signing, and I kid you not, somebody walked up to Tom Savini and had him sign something, and the first thing he said was, "I found you through Grimm-Life." And I went, like, I got so small because it's like, this man is like, but like, how cool is that? I mean, it's the horror community, right? So we were living in Orlando, Florida, and we were heading up to Pittsburgh, which is where I'm from, and I was like, man, I've never been to Tom Savini's school. I wonder if they have anything, like a showroom for their students or something like that. So I called, and props, anything. So I called them, and I talked to a guy by the name of Kevin Fear, who became a good friend. And he's like, oh, we got tons of stuff to show you. Yes, come here, I'm a fan of your show, come here. I'm like, okay. And he goes, wouldn't it be cool if I got Tom Savini, or Tom, to give you a tour? I was like, hell yeah. He's like, I can't promise anything, but it would be cool, right? I'm like, yeah, cool. So weeks went by without hearing anything. And I called Kevin. I said, hey, we're hitting the road. Is he going to be there? He said, I don't know. He's kind of busy. If anything, I might be able to convince him to just kind of be there when we get there and say, hey, I'm Tom Savini, welcome to my school. It's like welcome to Kitty Cribs, right? So we get there, we pull up, and literally right next to us, in the car right behind us, is Tom Savini. And we arrive at the same exact time. We walk into the school at the same exact time, and he held the door for you. That's supposed to be quick. And it turned out to be this, he just said, you know what, I'm here, let's just do this. And he gave us the tour, and everything was completely unscripted. It always is. And we do this thing called the Grimm interview, which is basically one question interview. And I kept asking him, do you have an answer for that one yet? Do you have an answer for that one? He goes, no, we'll do it later on. Let's just keep going. By the end of the tour of the school, I asked him again, do you have an answer for the Grimm interview? I'll never forget it. He said, no, but I'll tell you what, just come over to my house and we'll just do it there.
He said, we'll finish it in the mass group.
He said, give me 2 hours, because I want to go to the pool. All right, cool. So we parted ways, and then we went to go film the Silence of the Lambs video that happened the same day. And then we're driving back to Pittsburgh, and I typed his number, his address in the GPS, and I was freaking out because I'm like, okay, I gotta call Tom Savini now, like, what do I do? It's like, hi Tom, hey Tom, Michael, you know, I'm trying to act cool, it was nerve-wracking. So I kind of sucked it up, hit send. He goes, hello? I said, hey Tom, who's this? He goes, fuck. This is Michael and Jeff. Who? And I was like, we just did a thing with your school. I was like, oh, you guys want to come over to the house, right? I said, yeah. So that's how that happened. The man loves his cats, especially his father and his grandfather, and we talked a lot about that. And we talked a lot about horror and his family. It was really cool. Yeah.
I'm still speechless. I'm reliving that moment in my mind as we talk about it, and to this day, I can't believe that happened. The man is sitting right in the other room, and I opened, he said, oh, hey, hi. I was like, hi, Tom. To this day, I mean, he was so sweet, he was so giving, and I think from the entire memory that I could take from that, is amazing. Yes, he is the grandfather of car makeup, but the fact that he's just still so in love with it, to this day, he's so in love with it, and he was just so giddy to share it. He was just like, I made this thing for I know. There's so many things you just want to like fake like homage into your jacket or something.
We did not take anything from Tom to read. Go over there and be like, hey, Tom. We did not.
But you wanted to.
Yes.
It was Disney. As soon as you turned a corner, it was something else from the movie that he worked on, and something else that he borrowed from another movie that he himself was a fan of. He was like, oh yeah, I got this from so-and-so because, we're friends, and he's had his eye on my piece over here, so I said, tell you what, you do it. And I was like,
That's how it goes.
okay. Thank you. Your mind will not shut up. And you're just like, stop speaking. Yeah, it just went that way the entire time. I'm still to this day thinking about it as a
I may or may not have had that experience the first time I met him at a convention. That's kind of the only thing I can say. Hey, Tom. Just like that. He was not impressed with me at all. Any other audience questions? Yes.
What are your origin stories as far as your love for horror and all things spooky? Like, what was the first thing that got its hooks into you?
The earliest memory I have, we got all the time in the world. This is a nice room, very nice room. When I was little, I wanted to be a short story writer. I wanted to write stories. And the very first thing I ever wrote was about a family who went to Niagara Falls, and they were standing on an overlook, and it collapsed. And they went, ah! And they all died. A little kid when I wrote that. And the next thing I remember, horror-wise, was I had a double VHS tape of Night of the Living Dead, and I used to watch that all the time. And there was a special feature on there, a short story called Night of the Living Bread. If you've seen that, it's gloriously awesome. Basically, instead of zombies, they just throw pieces of untoasted white bread in place of zombies. It's amazing. That's my origin story.
Sweet.
That's how it all started.
I am not sure I have an origin story. As long as I can remember, I like the darker things in life. As early as I think I was 5 in kindergarten, I remember it was the very first time we were let into the library. It was a big deal for us kids, and they're like, "You can put any book you want, and come on, get a book." And you're like, "Well, what are we supposed to go get a book on?" And they're like, "Whatever interests you." And I was like, I remember being a little kid and being like, "Well, shit, I don't know." And you're sitting around going, what do I like? I like Halloween. And the very first book I checked out of the library was about vampires. And I was dead hooked. That was not me. And I don't remember what the book was, but to this day, I'll never forget it. The way that it smelled, the way that the binding felt in my hands, because as I'm flipping through this book, and I couldn't read, but I couldn't read. I couldn't comprehend what this book was about. So I thought it was really about real vampires. And it came from, the excerpt it used came from an old black and white film where it shows this beautiful young woman asleep in a coffin, right? Arms crossed by the chest. And the very next picture was a stake through her heart. And now she was an old, shriveled, old woman with all this blood everywhere. And I remember being so horrified and fascinated at the same time. And I didn't throw it up, but not to show my age, but I was born in 82. And that was the year that The Dark Crystal came out. And before then, I was brought up on The Last Unicorn and from the rock and all the stuff. And I really didn't have that darker tone for kids. really kind of what set the path for me is from an early age, it was okay to watch darker interests for your kids because it was Jim Henson, I mean, Dark Crystal, The Labyrinth, etc. And in the 80s, no one batted an eye. Just like, oh yeah, she's just watching that slasher movie, whatever. No, she seems fine. Let her watch it. It's not bothering. She's not crying. She's fine. And that's kind of like the way my family reacted when I started watching like horror movies, and I grew up really on like the black and whites and stuff. So it was just kind of like perfect timing, I want to say. That I grew up in the right era, kind of this beautiful bubble of soft parenting that I was allowed to have the interest I wanted to have, and no one really was too concerned about it. But I guess I lied. I do have an origin story. It was about vampires when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
This was a special time to be a kid. Just the children's shows and the children's movies were terrifying. So delightfully so delightful. And I watch them now with all of these I do, and I'm like, it's kind of scary. They're almost a little silly now. I mean, I hope that they're making more content, because I still indulge that with passion. If it's a cartoon or a animation or something with puppets, I'm in it with. And I think that most of it nowadays, it has a bit of a silliness tone to it that we didn't have in the 80s because we were just expected to understand. Yeah. But not that I'm against that, I still think it's delightful because I want it to stick around and have kids that have more similar interests. Any other audience questions? My friend? Yeah.
Yes. No. There hasn't been an official announcement yet, but we're really trying to make a trip to Germany happen. And Grimm-Life Collective, we're very big on the old Grimm brothers Grimm tales. I try to be non-traditional with our video topics, so I'd really like to start doing a lot of the origin stories of those kind of stories. There are places, the Hellfire Caves have always interested me whenever I was located over there. Kind of want to do something with Robin Hood, Camelot, when we're over there. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff. It's hard to choose. And we keep telling ourselves, even though we're going to be over in England for 2.5, maybe 3 months, not going to get everything, we're just going to have to go back. So, and it'll happen. It's funny, each year, the Grimm-Life Collective just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Bigger things start happening. It's like having a birthday party, and it's really freaking cool. And the next year, it can suck. You gotta go bigger or go home. So we're constantly challenging ourselves and pushing ourselves even forward. So, like I said, we're planning already for 2024. We both are really excited. We want to go to Japan, and we want to tell Japanese horror, that stuff. So we don't want to just stick to what's here in the States. We want to see other countries, other lands, and we also want to cover other topics. Anything else I don't have
Every place has its own story to tell. Every single city, every single little town has its own horror story, its own urban legends, its own creatures. You want to go and cover all of it. So I think we can say without a doubt that there's no place that we would leave ourselves to go in the future, as long as we can just get there.
Secrets. She's a big Dark Crystal fan. We both love Henson, and I'm a big Labyrinth fan, so it's like perfect. And when we were over in England, again, something that nobody's really done, we're going to be doing painstakingly found locations, obsessively found locations. We're going to be tracking down what we can find of the Dark Crystal. So even though a lot of it was filmed on the set, like on a sound stage, there are a lot of real like practical locations. You have to take to get out in the middle of nowhere too. So you drag your missile out in the woods. You know, we're constantly changing. Things are always happening.
So to wrap this up, I want to talk about the movie you guys said you were producing. Can we talk about that? Can you tell us when is it coming out and more about it?
Okay, March 11th is the world premiere of The Force Hills in Atlantic Highlands. At Slod Castle, the theater that's owned by Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith will be there, as well as Emma Furlow, who will be doing a Q&A and a moderating, hosting the event. We will be there as well, covering, making a video, so even if you can't make it there, if you weren't able to get a ticket, you'll still be able to get there through us. I don't give too much away, but it may or may not be about werewolves. If you watch the trailer, it's 100% about werewolves, or it isn't. We signed on to the Forest Hills because we love Shelley Duvall. And we wanted, even if she would just walk down the street with like, hi, and then left in the movie, we didn't care. We just wanted to see her do her thing. And yeah.
I don't think that there's been a release date for it just yet. And all the information can be found online, and I believe they're still doing the GoFundMe for it.
It ends in like 5 days or 4 days. But as for the release date, it's not set in stone yet. I know that they are trying to hit a couple different cities, like take it on a tour here and there, which or just kind of like, local theaters here, like in Atlanta, how they have Plaza right now. But just different places across the country, which I'm 100% about. I think it's a great idea, kind of grassroots kind of thing. But it's not really up to us. And who knows? I think it'd be cool if we got a theatrical release. Why the heck not? But either way, I think you guys will enjoy it. It'll be fun. I talk a lot.
That's where we were last.
Yeah, Vegas. Vegas.
We don't personally have a lot of the information still being worked out, but they do have a legal webpage, and I think the most current information is usually through Facebook, Instagram, etc.
Follow the Instagram page because they go, Scott goes live sometimes. He just did one the days ago. So we're talking again and stuff. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for this movie, and very, very excited to see Shelley Duvall again.
That's right.
And have you guys seen their video with Shelley?
Yeah.
Wasn't it amazing?
That's right.
Real quick,
Oh,
just
sure.
wrap us up quickly. How amazing was it to get to talk to her?
It was really hard not to just flat out fangirl and gush, and I'm gonna do gush. I lost it there for a second. I tried to reel it in real hard, but she's real sharp. She's funny. She's still very punctual. She's doing well. She's 75, so she's about as well as you can expect at that age. Honestly, she's got some health concerns and everything, but sharp as a tack. The stories that she had that we weren't able to include, I will take to my grave, honestly.
Entire day with her. And it was awesome. And I told her right from the get-go, like, I don't even care if we even do this interview, or if we turn the camera on, or even if we get a photo, just being able to stand here and just talk to you and spend the time to get to know you and hear the stories. She really had a lot of love and a lot of awesome memories about working with Robert Altman. So she adored him.
All right, Grimm-Life, thank you so much for coming out to play with us.
Thank you. Woo!
Make sure you go check out the movie whenever it comes out.